The S2000, arguably Honda's best rear-wheel drive sports car other than the NSX. And since the Honda S2000, there hasn't been another Honda rear-wheel drive sports car. But with a car so revered and so loved, why? Why hasn't there been another Honda S2000? With releases such as the GR86, the Nissan Z, and many more sports cars, maybe Honda would have another shot at another S2000. But the S2000 is of its time. High revving, naturally aspirated, and gnarly. Unless you're driving this one. This one right here is the best set up S2000 I have ever driven. You know in Forza, when you put every single part on a car and max it out? That is what this car is. With reinforced chassis work, wind tunnel tested aerodynamics, and so much more, this S2000 proves the utter potential of maybe a brand new S2000. So what exactly makes the perfect S2000 after all these years of driving them? Let's go for a drive and find out. Hello and welcome to arguably the best setup S2000 I've ever driven when it comes to aerodynamics, handling, and just the build story is so great. This car was actually bought in 2014 by this car's owner, Austin, to essentially help him get over the passing of his mother. And I thought the story was so touching that I couldn't resist driving another S2000, but this man's build list is so crazy. For the body and Aero, it has a J's Racing dual element wing that's wind tunnel tested with large end plates, VIS V2 carbon fiber trunk lid, JDP rear diffuser that's modified, Allowcraft vane diffuser modified to attach the JDP enclosure, J's Racing rear over fenders, plus 35mm, Forbidden USA double-sided Mugen Hardtop with two-piece quick release latches, so essentially you could just take it off whenever very easily. Feeds RX-7 carbon fiber side splitters, APR low drag carbon fiber side mirrors, Seibon TS-style vented carbon fiber hood, J's Racing front fenders, TrackSpec zero-speed fender louvers, spoon front bumper that's custom hand molded to fit the J's fenders. We also have Bride GS2's low max reclinable bucket seats, but I really want to talk about the suspension. It's KW Club Sport two-way coilovers, custom KW spring rates at 14K, Cusco subframe chassis brace, Eibach adjustable sway bar front and rear, Volk wheels that are 18 by 9.5 plus 22, rear is 18 by 10.5 plus 22, with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. It's also got a 444 final drive with an OS Geigen Superlock 1.5 way clutch type LSD and a competition 8-pound flywheel. Okay, that parts list still keeps going. I'm just gonna put it in the description below, but if you'd like to know more, there it is. I'll touch a little bit on it as I'm driving. I have driven the S2000 so many freaking times now that I'm sure a lot of you guys are going, why are you doing another one? Well, one, they're awesome to drive. Two, they're various degrees of gnarly. The LS one I drove, gnarly because it had Stance Boy wheels on it. Okay. The turbocharged one I just drove a month ago, that's sketchy because it had slicks and skinnies and 650 wheel horsepower. The Vortex supercharged one I drove was sketchy because I, well, drove it in the rain with full aero. Along with that, I drove a Spoon S2000 that's similar to this, but with more rare parts, I would say. This one is set up with a bunch of rare parts and really great upgraded handling techniques. The main reason I'm driving this one is because he has scrutinized this thing. He has gone down to every single thing he could change to make better, including his alignment. He aligns this thing to have the ultimate grip with the Michelin tires, and he says that the rear basically never sways. Now, the number one thing in S2000s is the snap oversteer. The S2000's handling limit is here, but if you go to here, you spin out and you're never coming back. But you know, you have the digital dash, the push button start. This car was so ahead of its time, and the S2000, why is it called the S2000? Well, because it was to celebrate the millennium of the year 2000. But a lot of you guys know all this stuff. If you're watching this video, you know how good the F-Series engine is, how fun the VTEC is, the AP2. It's a little bit lower red line, but has a little bit more torque. I prefer the AP2, even though many people prefer the AP1, but I just feel way more confident in the AP2. Now that I think of it, the S2000 might be the most variety setup car I've ever reviewed on this channel. I think I've done the most S2000s when it comes to drastic differences. Supercharged, swapped, you name it. It's crazy to think how different they all feel. So basically this car, the more heat you get in the tires, the much faster you go, and the faster you go, the more the Aero works. This car is wind tunnel tested, so essentially I can finally take somebody's word for it that the Aero actually works. One of the most interesting things about the S2000 is that you pretty much have to drive it hard. It likes it, but the only issue is when you drive it hard, you're way more likely to spin out. So that's an issue. Get more sound with the windows up. There we go. Yes, oh my God. Yep. Best handling S2K I've driven for sure. Oh, yes. Yes. So much yes. Tech for life, dude. Woo! That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. This completely changes my opinion of the S2000, and I love the S2000. But golly, if you set this thing up right, you're full throttle through the corners and you can feel the back squatting down, and it fixes all of those things about this car that make it so scary. The S2000 is a scary car otherwise, especially the AP1. But with this, wow, it gets amazing. Like with this setup, I feel like I can use the absolute full potential of the F-Series engine. I feel like I can go to 9,000 RPM without a worry, okay, close to 9,000 RPM, without a worry in the world. In that 5 to 10 miles an hour I need to scrub to safely go through a corner, I'm not even getting close to the limit of this car. I know it can do so much more, but just for today's sake, just to show the potential of this thing, just to scrub that 5 to 10 miles an hour going into a corner just by bopping these brakes, these stop step brakes, dude, it just creates a Nirvana sensation. Just, not the band, great band, but you know what I mean. Oh my God, these brakes! My favorite thing about the, dude, okay, I would have spun out in the stock S2000 there. Problem with this car is if you bought an S2000, 8 years of R&D should do it. Like, to get it to this point. It's amazing how after all these years he just discovered something, modifies it, discovers something. When he buys a part, he goes, not good enough, it needs to be better. And then he modified it, figured it out, and goes, oh wait, if I use kind of this way to vector this car to make it sit better on the ground and get it sucked more to the ground, it's gonna get rid of that disturbing feeling when you go around corners too fast in these. And at the same time, the little duckbill on the carbon trunk, that actually creates a little bit of downforce as well. Not a lot, but just enough to make a difference. Guys, what do you think of this beautiful, well set up, arguably the perfect S2000, or as close as you can get? I mean, there's no moment in this video where I've been scared. Not a single time. When I drove the AP1 2 years ago, I was working that car, trying to make it do what I wanted, and it was near stock. It just had a little bit of Aero on it, and that was it. Man, what a difference big tires make. Like the S2000, wide bodying it makes sense. It's not just for aesthetics or looks. To get those big meaty boy tires makes all the difference in the world. And on that note, I upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I will see you guys next time. And take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.